broadcast on YouTube here. Wow, this is so disruptive. Very disruptive. Yes, but at least I know why. So my actual internet is dropping. So that's the issue here. The internet itself is down. So something is messing with my Wi-Fi. Okay, you just got a notification. So how do you, if you got a notification, how do you jump in here? Because I don't get those notifications. So how do you actually see it? How do you get back on it? It's like always like that. It takes about a minute and then you can never get back on it. Well, a couple of you found it, but you can go to your home page and then, yes, and it's not active. It says live, but there's nothing live. So, yep, notification, then wait. You have to wait. It takes about a minute. It's not something automatic. So, there we go. Okay, now it's back. Whew. Is it okay? Wow, that's okay. Don't blame YouTube. Don't blame YouTube. Don't blame Periscope. That is clearly my end. My actual internet connection was down because not even any website worked. Okay, so this has nothing to do with YouTube or Periscope or anything. It has to do with my own internet connection dropping. So don't want any conspiracy theories that don't apply. So this one at least has been verified. So all I did was restart the internet connection. I just stopped the Wi-Fi, restarted, and it connected fine to the website. I mean, I'm forgetting about the streaming part. Just the website worked when I disconnected and reconnected the. I'm trying to see if my router's working over there, and use something that sounds similar instead. What are you saying? No, it's Spectrum is such a joy. I don't know if it's Spectrum. I don't know if it's looks like something interfered with the Wi-Fi, and I don't see any microwaves running in here. Maybe it's a neighbor's microwave. Maybe that's why it seems to happen at a certain time. Maybe it's always happening between 8 and 8:30, and sometimes that's cooking time for maybe it's cooking time for the neighbors. So that's one possibility. That's one possibility. Okay, so I guess we consider this a brand new. Okay, did I lose the connection again on the chat? There we go. Honestly, it's happened to me before. Well, it's sorry for wasting your time, guys. It's like half an hour, and we never got anywhere here with all these interruptions. So half an hour and huge debite. Huge debite. You can't demonetize me with your comments. Retype that with better words, because then they'll demonetize me and say too many bad words from the people on there. So, okay, huge debate. So just the filter that. So I gotta be careful, or I get demonetized. So So. Whatever words you want to call it, huge debate. I can't repeat it. I know here in my house it drops in my kitchen. As I test it, I go in the living room, and it's fine. Yes. Anyway, back to our scheduled topics. So yesterday I was talking about prepping for an actual grid being down. That one day. Hello, that one day. That one day. That's it's like day after or something. So I was recommending to you to read the book 1 second after, which has to do with the grid with an EMP attack. And read that book because it actually is not just for an EMP, but it actually underscores what happens with society when the basic services shut down, like lack of power. And the power may not be due just to the power loss may not just be due to an EMP. It could be due to something natural, like could be from an earthquake, like here in California. It could be from a coronal mass ejection from the sun, which has similar effects to EMP. It could be from the grid being down for a terrorist attack, which can easily be done. I told you yesterday. And that book, 1 second after, actually, if you just abstract the EMP side of things from that, even if it wasn't an EMP, the story would be similar. And it's a very, very interesting book. It's because the way that they built it up. Built it up slowly. Things. Power went down and little things started to happen. Then it got bigger. Then people panicked, and then people started to behave in strange ways. And then you kind of have total social breakdown. And then at the end of the book, then it turns to a kind of a war thing. Been from small. Is that possible? Say it again. Did you hear that some were saying all the blackouts may have been from smaller EMP attacks? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible, yes, but not necessarily EMP. No, EMP is a very specific thing. EMP is from a nuclear explosion hundreds of miles up in the sky. Okay? That's a very specific thing. You can't have an EMP and then say, I recovered from the electrical problems a day later. That's not an EMP. An EMP is a total shutdown, and it may be years before you recover from that. Last night you talked about the blackouts, saying it may be nefarious. Yes, there's, by nefarious, I don't think they know why it shut down, but it can be done from, let's say, an overload in one station, and then the other stations start to recover, and they cause their own overload trying to cover for the loss of one of the stations, and then they all kind of like overstress themselves and then shut down to keep everything running. So that's it. It could be that. But I gave you a scenario yesterday. It was kind of interesting because all you had to do was blow up a few transformers. These transformers are, as big as a tractor. They're huge, okay, or the size of a big giant dumpster. And if you blow up a few transformers, well, that's it. Then you have to replace the transformers. Now, here's the problem. There are no spare transformers. Nobody's actually, I actually wonder about this. This is how sensitive our grid is. If you blew up, you take some sort of throw a grenade at a I guess it's in steel, so probably something heavier. But let's say you have a 50 cal machine gun and you machine gun a transformer and it shorts out, then you can't repair that. So you have to order a new transformer, which is a couple of $1 million, let's say, of cost, and it takes a year to build a transformer. So how the heck, what the heck do you do for the next year? You have no power. How do you, if somebody said, I'm going to take some machine guns and machine gun all the transformers in town, and that'll be the attack, and then suddenly a whole city can be shut down for as long as a year. There's no one has spare transformers. See, that's the problem. They didn't plan on this. These transformers are very old. Most of these transformers are 25, 30 some years old. And is there anyone that has backups? I don't think so. From what I read, there's no backups to this. So I don't understand. We're spending so much time on so many issues. We're so concerned about things like global warming and all that, and yet something as basic as shutting down the grid, which is a very serious social problem. What would happen then? If you read this book 1 second after, you can see that a simple thing like having no power results in totally, a total social breakdown. For example, there's no refrigeration. That means all the food spoils. If there's no vehicles to transport the food, then how does it get from the farmers to the people? What about the medicines? What about the respirators and all the different equipment that they use in hospitals? All that's going to shut down. So the moment it shuts down, then immediately people start to die. Within the same day, people start dying in a hospital. Nursing homes, everyone starts to die because none of the respirators begin to work, and so on. And people with diabetes, they start not getting medicine. So there is so much about this topic, and this type of situation won't last a week. Monkey Man is on the wrong platform. So EMP definition. Fragility was not an accident, dude. It's over. Yes, I know it's always over for you. For you, it's always over. You still doing your disinformation, huge debate? Are you still focused on disinformation? I wish there was a way to, to make disinformation a structured approach, like an AI can handle disinformation. Hello, Mario, buddy. Can you believe I sold my BT? Yes, I know, Monkey Man, because that's not very smart of you. So anyway. And I'm not even talking about Skynet here. I'm just talking about the fact that the grid itself is so unstable, and so it won't take much to bring it down. It won't take much to bring it down. So that's why it's kind of scary. And if you're not ready for it, you can see what happens in this book. So and some people say, well, we don't need things like this, This kind of thing is not needed for those kinds of situations. I don't know. I mean, this might actually save lives by preventing things from happening. So yes, you are very unstable. Yeah. So like I said, it doesn't have to be an EMP. If you know all where the substations are and you blow up the substations, and it will take a year to replace a transformer, what the heck happens then? Is anybody buying those transformers today? We've always been on the brink, yes. But can you imagine being on the brink in a big city? I mean, if you're in a small town, you can always go and say, well, okay, we'll survive, because you can always go to the big city someplace. But if a big city shuts down, hello, Mystery Scope, if a big city shuts down, then people leave and start attacking all the little towns. And I don't mean attacking in a violent kind of a way, but they migrate out and then stress the system in the small towns, and then the small towns get problems, and on and on and on. And this is exactly part of the story in this book, 1 second after. So please read that. It's very, very interesting. What's your problem, Jason? You're complaining about my follower account? The utilities have a hard time keeping the grid viable at the best of times. Climate change will exacerbate the vulnerability. I like to see sell half my what? Yeah. So I want to repeat my suggestion from last night, and I did put some of the links in my video, including that book. So if you from the video last night, so look for the live stream last night, and you can see the link to the book 1 second after, and some of the things that I mentioned in there, like handheld radios, and the kind of water containers you may need to get, so that you can build up a 2-week supply In the book, they were already in killing mode at 5 days. In the book, within 5 days, there were already a lot of killing. A lot of people already died within 5 days. Would a stick of dynamite knock out a transformer? Yes, of course. Starlight, yes. What does it take? All you have to do is short a single sucking wire in there. Even if a bullet got inside and scraped the wires, that would be enough to blow it up. I have a 1 week supply. That's good, Jason. That's good. Why don't you say that on some other broadcast? Why don't you go to PewDiePie Scope broadcast on YouTube and say that there, so then he gets demonetized? Okay. 100 million Satoshi will be a private. But will there be? What the fuck are we talking about, LG Knight? Anyway. So read that book, and some of the facts on EMP is not completely correct. Experts think your cell phone's going to survive. Of course, it won't be usable. I mean, you could play games on it, but and you need some power. Don't demonetize PewDiePie. So anyway, sorry, must be lagging. Okay. There's Kelp. Okay, so that's related to prepping for the grid going down. Now, why is the title of today's broadcast prepping? Why is the title for today's broadcast prepping for Skynet? Why is today's topic prepping for Skynet? So now we're going to go to change here. So because having a grid go down is a very specific thing, or an EMP or a terrorist attack or anything that would cause something similar to that would cause the grid to be down, is fairly easy to understand. And some people say, well, I don't have to prep for Skynet because there's no real Skynet. And I don't have to prep for that. Well, unfortunately, guys, this is actually what happens every day, and people come to me asking for help. This is kind of a regular process here. I'm always being asked for help on many of these issues that kind of connect to Skynet. And unfortunately, because you do not have a prepper mentality when it comes to your data, then you get attacked. So when I say Skynet, we're talking about your data. Now, how Skynet manipulates your data is a whole long story. But if you don't care about what data goes into the databases of Skynet, i.e. the internet, then you're going to have a lot of issues that relate to everyday things that don't have to do with Skynet itself yet. But you're going to be calling me about things like, I've been scammed, I've been hacked, I've been doxxed, and you don't know what to do about it. So we're going to talk a little bit about why. This is a big concern, because the internet, unfortunately, for many of you, and just many just don't realize it, that this is something you have to prepare for. How you manage your data is something you have to prepare for, because when Skynet gets you, it's not reversible. It's not reversible. You can't say, oh, sorry, can you fix it now? Can you recover from this? Let me repeat my little story from a friend of mine whose kid was at the time was in 7th grade. And the teacher said, okay, class, every one of you will write a story about your family. And you're going to put pictures on it, and you're going to build a website. This was in 7th grade. So this teacher got all of these kids to go on this free platform to make a website that has their real name on it, their real photos, their story about their lives. And these kids were encouraged to put real names and real stories and talk about the entire family. And this friend of mine, and we just saw it again last night. We saw the website. If you search this person's name, this comes out, what the kid wrote. And the kid wrote a lot of stuff. I mean, personal details, enough detail, birth dates, enough detail that they would totally be easily scammed. Enough information to scam somebody. All the names of relatives, all their background and their history, so you can easily just scan them and find their addresses and their phone numbers and so on, and know what their jobs are. And this is what happens when the teacher, in this case, 7th grade, by the way, this is illegal. This is against the law for the child COPA, Child Online Privacy Protection Act, COPA. The parents have to give permission for this kind of thing to have occurred, and this was not given. This was many years ago, and nobody was supervising the school. And they did this, and the kids don't know what their passwords are, and they can't go back to the websites to kill these sites. So they don't know how to undo them. They've already forgotten. It's many, many years later, and now who'd ever thought that the search engines would find this and it can never be deleted? And if somebody actually said, I'm going to delete whatever was put in about this family on that, if you actually find a way to maybe demand that the web company that has the website delete them, it's not going to be deleted because there's a copy of it on archive.org, which is the Wayback Machine, which is owned by Google. There's a copy of every website on there. So you're zucked. Basically, once something goes on the internet, there's no way to delete it. Okay, huge T bytes like typing so many things in here. What am I missing? COPA, CISPA, Act, what the zuck? Okay, so there's no way to delete something you put on the internet. It's going to be quite a battle to delete it. This is not like Europe. Europe has a way to remove it from the search engine Google, which does not mean you can delete it from the internet. It just gets deleted from the search engine. There's actually no way to delete it from the internet. So that's part of the issue that we're trying to say here. If you do not have a prepper mentality with your data, if you do not have a prepper mentality when it comes to your data, then what happens is whatever you put in on the internet with your real name on it and your real info will now be a permanent record on the database, and it will be permanently stored in there for somebody else to use and utilize and use to manipulate you over time. And then that is when you start to worry about Skynet. That's when you start saying, oh, then third parties now have access to this. Third-party databases now have access to this. And now you have a profile. So let's talk about what if the bank shut down? Well, if the bank shut down, the bank shut down. Read that book 1 second after the bank shut down. Can some white hack the clouds and change the... what the suck? Okay. Got it. Okay, so TR Fun Guy got it. So anyway, what was I talking about? So I was talking about a friend of mine. Yes, use Bitcoin, huge byte. Yeah, Bitcoin's doing well. Yeah, prediction is going to be that we'll be back to the highs of 20K in 6 months. 20K in 6 months. Of course, when the grid goes down, your Bitcoin isn't worth anything either. So when there's no grid, there's also no Bitcoin. So Huge Byte says, zuck the banks. If it breaks 11.7, I think it'll go up and down. So if you think it'll just go up to 20, no, it doesn't work like that. That's not steady. So let me talk again about another story, which is connected to this, and this is my friend. my friend. So we were on the boat. We were on the boat, and somebody mentioned Zuckbook. Somebody mentioned Zuckbook, and of course, you know me, I'm the anti-Zuck guy. So I said, Zuck that. Who's gonna be want to be on Zuckbook? I'm never gonna be on Zuckbook. So and then several of the people on the boat said, "Oh yeah, I'll never be on Zuckbook." And then there's one of them, two of the guys on the boat are on Zuckbook. So two out of six are on Zuckbook. So two people are on Zuckbook, and so one of them was on the boat last week, and he said, "Well, I understand the dangers. I understand the dangers of the privacy of being on Zuckbook. I understand the dangers, but I'm able to talk to my friends, my childhood friends that I haven't had a contact in a while, and we're having such a good time communicating, and that I think it's worth it." He said, I think it's worth it. It's worth the risk. I'll be dead in 20 years anyway, so it's worth it to use that time to be socializing on Zuckbook. And of course, many of you have the same philosophy. You're saying, well, it's the only way I can connect to my family, and all my family is on Zuckbook, so that's the only way to connect with family. So yes, I've heard of all the bad risk, Cambridge Analytica and all the little things that happen on Zuckbook, and but it's not that serious. I can live with that. So we're gonna leave it alone. Okay. So let's just pause for a moment here. So the people who say that they don't really care that their personal data, with their real name, by the way, that connects them to populations of people, with people knowing everything about you, it's basically like a big database that says, who are you? It's kind of like the encyclopedia of every single person, and with your real identity, with where you live, what you do, where you work, what your email address is, and who your friends are, what your beliefs are. And it's in there in a permanent record that you can never, ever delete. There's nothing deletable on Facebook. Whatever you put on there, it's going to be there forever and ever. So now you've created this big database of you. Are you actually willing to say that that's okay with you to have a central database about your activities that any bad guy can look at? Any bad guy can go into Facebook and retrieve that information about you. And don't think just about bad guys being scammers and hackers and doxers and stalkers. Bad guys can be institutions like Palantir, Jigsaw, companies that are in business of manipulation. And there you have the basis of Cambridge Analytica. Some of you may not know the history of Cambridge Analytica, because I was talking about it before the election and nobody actually understood. And that's why you see target. Well, I wish that's all you see with targeted ads. But let's talk about Cambridge Analytica for a moment. Cambridge Analytica is actually such a scary thing if you actually think about it, because what happened is that Cambridge Analytica came up with an algorithm to figure out the personality of every single American on the database. And they had a list of 50 million people, U.S. citizens, or maybe immigrants. I don't know, illegal aliens, whatever. But they were in the U.S. U.S. people in the United States, 50 million of them, and they had a personality profile simply based on Facebook. Do you understand do you ever even think about that? That someone actually got down to the detail and said, let me examine your social media content from Facebook alone. This is only Facebook. Let me let me analyze your social media content on Facebook. And from that, they were able to derive personalities. So now, not only do they have names of every one of you, they've assigned a personality to each one. And they actually were able to predict if people were outgoing, extroverted, introverted, type A, and all. There's a whole bunch of personalities in it. I think they had like, if I recall, like, like 8 or so personality profiles that they were able to slot people in. And it was really, really strange. It was really, really strange to say that. Do you understand that? Doesn't that bother you that the AI actually got down to the detail of saying, not only do I know everything about you, but the AI actually figured out what your personality is? That doesn't bother any of you? Huge Steve Bite, please go to your Facebook account and use my name. That's perfect. Many of you use my picture on Facebook. That's fine too. That's fine too. Use different names. Use my picture with different names. That'll be perfect. It's not for me, but for my kids. So use my picture. You're all welcome. You're all welcome to use my picture on Facebook. So the more the merrier. The more when somebody sees my picture and associate with a different name. Use a different name though. Use a different name. Some of you have even used my picture on Twitter. So and yes, and I have seen people put Rob Braxman references on Facebook, even though I don't have a Facebook account. No longer what the Zuck help. People don't understand the gravity of being profiled. So yes, Rainbow Trail. That my point is that when you get down to saying that not only have they tracked each one of you with your data, and they said, okay, we know that John Valent is this type of guy, and this is what he looks like physically, because we have his facial recognition, and this is how he behaves, this is what he likes, this is his political beliefs, and then to come down to actually saying this is his personality profile. I wonder what's next. Because some of the things that they were able to isolate in the personality profiles were probably things like gullibility. Who's gullible? Who's not? Do you understand the significance of that? What if they find out who's gullible? If you know what gullible means. So you got a bunch of people that you've now collected a profile of people that you have determined based on what they do on Facebook. They're probably the ones doing likes and stupid things on Facebook. And they said, okay, these people are gullible. Can you imagine, just top of my head here, can you imagine if you are a third party and you want to manipulate things and you said, okay, let's take all the gullible people on the right or the gullible people on the left and feed them some fake news. And let's use deep fake. You know what deep fake is? Where they can put words in some other person's mouth. They can have Trump say something that he didn't actually say, and then send it to these gullible people, and do it a few days before election, maybe the day before. Do you understand that? Have we ever gotten to the point, as it happened in the last election, where news was being made a few days before the election? They canceled Voco. Voco was not made for sale. They pulled it out. They probably realized the danger of Voco. Voco is a speech AI that can copy anybody's speech. So if you train it, it can actually learn to speak like anyone. If you want it to speak like Trump, it will speak like Trump. And then you can post a thing on Twitter that says Trump said this. We have a recording of him in private, and he said this, and then you couldn't prove it otherwise. So I saw a video how easy the voting machines can be. So this is the kind of thing that really is now in the manipulation stage, people. A manipulation stage. When your data gets out there and it's analyzed by these algorithms, and the algorithms are actually able to detect things like what is your personality, who's gullible, who's pro terrorist, who's pro Iran, and then start to combine that with other personality profiles, and then use that as a trigger to disrupt social media. It's kind of scary. It's kind of scary when you think about this. You mean stupidao suck. Deepfakes, I think, are going to be the next thing in technology manipulation. Are already it. I did a broadcast about deepfakes some time ago, and I did so Tom, I actually did a broadcast some time ago that actually had a war game scenario. Let me repeat that story to you. Because it's kind of interesting. And this is one of the ways that the Skynet-like situation happens, and no one's actually thinking about it. We're all asleep at the wheel, and we're not actually realizing the seriousness of all this. So somebody in a simulation, war game simulation, they hired somebody who was actually innovative in the war game simulation. And most war game simulations assume that some political event will happen, and then that will cause a whole slew of reactions, and then the reaction will lead to war. This war game was based on a simulated military plan by China. This is the simulation here. This is not real. This is just a simulation. And this is the way they did this. Okay. This is the way they did this. So one day, the people in a military base. This was in a military base in Japan. This was the trigger point. So that was targeted. A U.S. naval base in Japan was targeted with disinformation. So the officers woke up and looked at their computers, and various crises of various sorts happened. For the officers, they got a bunch of deepfake videos, pretty much, showing crisis in the U.S. Crisis in the U.S. Not where they were, but crisis in the U.S. and got them like really, really concerned about what's happening. And by deep fake, meaning they create fake videos that look real, and they fed it on the internet of the people in the naval base. The enlisted men got all emails and notifications and texts on the computers that had problems like their money was taken out from banks. They got lawsuits. Their children were hurt. Their wives left them. Their girlfriends went out with other men, and on and on and on. All these different combinations of panic, and so that everyone on the base got some sort of cyber attack. They didn't know they were getting a cyber attack because there was no one to verify this, because it was very, very widely different. And all of the attacks were based on doxing. Doxing. What's doxing? When somebody finds out personal information. Oh, Danny, when somebody finds out personal information about you and uses that against you. So in this case, the attacker, in this case, simulated Chinese attack, got information on many, many people on the base by doxing them and saying, let's find out all the people at the base. and then finding out their email addresses and their text phone numbers and so on, and made a collection of this, which you can easily get from Facebook, and then say, well, we're going to do a distraction for 24 hours. We're going to do a distraction for 24 hours and distract as many people as we can on social media and email and the internet in this naval base. So they caused so much confusion that the whole place became so disorganized in that 24 hours. And then China then did an actual attack by taking over one of the islands in the Pacific. And at that point, the U.S. was not able to respond because they were not ready. They were not ready. And because it was too late, there was no other avenue, and they had to pull back and not do anything. And China captured the island. Do you see what I'm talking about when you say, well, we don't really care, and this is in a global sense. We don't care that our information goes out there with our real names out on the internet. We don't really care because it's not going to impact me. I'm going to be dead in 20 years anyway. So we don't really care. So that can happen, and we'll just go stick to our Zuck book, and glad that you care, angels. We're just gonna, do our Zuck book thing, and it doesn't really matter. It's not gonna hurt us, and there's no risk to this, so we'll just keep using Zuck book. I just gave you a situation where clearly there's a risk. This is a very easy to visualize risk. It's when some third party using various AI methods were able to dox and accumulate people and get a profile. It's like Cambridge Analytica getting the profiles and using it in a bad way against the individuals they're trying to attack. So, for example, well, I'd like a particular set of skills. Are you Satoshi? I thought you were Satoshi. They hit them with the same classic. They hit them with a classic country western song plot. So, can I purchase advertising on your YouTube videos with Facebook crypto? Why don't you ask YouTube that? For me, if you want to contribute to the cause, you can go to YouTube and give a super chat. Super chat. If you want to give a super chat on YouTube, that's you help support the cause. Or you can be a patron on patreon.com. So now do you understand that there's a risk when people think that as an individual, you say, well, who's interested in me? I'm nobody. I am not. I'm not that interesting. I don't really care that people know details about me because, I do boring things. So I'm not important. And I just gave you two scenarios that you need to consider. If an AI can find out that you're gullible and start sending you fake news and deep fake videos and things like that can get you to think differently, and then you are an influencer, one that is, popular on social media, and you're gullible. Wow. I mean, you isolate a few of these people and you can actually trigger enough confusion there, depending on what time period you're trying to cause a distraction for. And in a war game situation, the distractions have be caused by this database information about every single one of you is really subject to manipulation. I have a withdrawal on my PayPal account that don't know who it went to. It's PayPal, so you can contact PayPal, and you can even undo it on PayPal. You can dispute it. PayPal gives you a way to do that. It's too late. It's always too late for you, Huge D-Byte. But Brax coin, Bitcoin, none of this is going to work when the grid is down. Why are you posting links, Starlight? You can't post links on here. But some guys say it's weird. What the zuck are you guys talking about? Okay, so from what I'm saying here, I think some of you may be thinking, okay, so there is a risk, but it's still distant from me. I don't necessarily feel like this is a kind of a risk that affects me personally enough. So some of you come to me for asking for help, and let's talk about some actual real things that actually happened, where people have asked for help. I'm not going to use names, obviously, but so if you're one of these people, I'm not going to reveal who you are, but I'm just going to give the scenario so you can learn from it. So one of you came to me and said that you believe you were scammed because you gave money to somebody on the internet, somebody you didn't know. Somebody started asking for help, and I've helped many people here myself. Some of you here on Periscope, and some of you have known for a while, and some had financial problems. And when I'm able to, I help some people. And did I get scammed? In a sense, it's a question to be asked because people borrow money and then they never pay you back. Things like that, and I just write that off as it is what it is. John Connor, I thought I'm John Connor. You're taking my position here, John Connor. So anyway, this person came to me and said, I gave somebody on I don't know what platform, but let's say it's Periscope. I don't know. Somebody said I gave this person $1,000. $1,000. I said, suck. Giving $1,000 to somebody you don't know on the internet. Give $1,000 to somebody you don't know on the internet. That's are you posting the are you posting the current price of Bitcoin there? Huge debate. Can I have 900? Skynet goes by. They are good. Langley is the clue. Must are you nothing? Aren't nothing to worry about if you are. What the? Okay. So somebody gave some money to somebody on the internet, and it's $1,000, and I was actually shocked. $1,000. You would give $1,000 to somebody you don't really know. That's kind of scary. That's a significant amount of money to be giving out to somebody you don't know for nothing. And so I said, well, if you gave it to them by PayPal, then you can contact PayPal and recover the money, and they can do a chargeback. Okay? And this is the response I get, and I want to be able to use this as a teaching point. And this person said, I gave him gift cards. John Connor, that youngster, the youngster's still around. He comes to my scopes. That youngster joined the Air Force. The youngster joined the Air Force. If I cash app you, will you do a private for me? What the fuck? Lucifer, I'm curious. Are you man or woman or somewhere in between? Are you man, woman, or somewhere in between, Lucifer? I don't even know what you are. So anyway, so the gentleman you speak of, the young kid that we see, and he has a different name now on Periscope, but he's in the Air Force. Gift cards. Gift cards. So, as an expert on privacy, I'm going to tell you something. Gift cards are untraceable. Gift cards are untraceable. Let me repeat that. gift cards are untraceable. If gift cards are untraceable, shouldn't that give you kind of a hint that there's an issue? If somebody says, I'm having a problem, I'm having some financial issues and it's affecting I need help financially to pay for my bills and whatever, and you give them a gift card, can you explain that? How does Zuck explain a gift card? Please, people, understand gift card. You can buy VPNs with the gift card. It's basically, you can give me gift cards. If you want to pay for a VPN with a gift card, so, that should be a clue. I'm trying to just give you clues that, you people you have to have some situational awareness here on the internet, because your data is permanent, and they will be able to trick you. They will be able to trick you and make you think certain things by doxing you. Let me show you the process here so you understand, okay? If I'm a scammer, how am I going to scam you? The way that I make a believable scam is, I try to find out as much information I can about you. So I engage in a conversation that shows that I'm interested in you, and I try to find out your name and so on and everything about you. Then I dox you on Facebook. So now you're on Facebook, and I know everything about you, and I say, okay, this is your personality, and this are your weak points, and I know you have money, and so on and so forth. So now I know you're rich, you can afford this, and then and I know you're lonely because you're not attached, and on and on and on. So then I go into that route, and then obviously I don't want to have a traceable thing, so I'm not going to want you to pay me by PayPal. You see, PayPal is completely traceable. That's one of the, Danny here does not like PayPal, but actually that's how they guarantee that, there's less fraud on PayPal, because, they verify your bank accounts and so on. So to you, it's safer to transact using something like PayPal. To the bad guy, they're not going to want PayPal. They're going to go transact in gift cards. So that's a clue, people. If you're being manipulated on the internet, it's going to be a clue. Gift cards. Be careful for the people fishing for info from docs. Google Pay you like. I'm gonna allow that. I'm gonna allow the YouTube. YouTube is like flagging all of your messages. Huge T-Byte. I didn't know that Hillary was running for election. I know how to deal with scammers. A virtual machine and TeamViewer equals advantage over scammer. You can delete all their files and syskey them, but same won't work on virtual machine. I don't know what that means, Mad Cow. If I were a scammer, I don't think you're gonna get a virtual machine on me. So I don't know what I don't know what your trick there is, but you must have a very specific scenario. You're gonna get somebody to go use TeamViewer. You're gonna have somebody dial into your? You're gonna say dial. Can I dial into your machine? Is that what you're saying? It's like you're gonna say, I'm Microsoft technical support. I need to connect to your computer because you have a virus. You have a virus on your computer, sir. if they syskey my virtual machine, I can just go back to snapshot. They try to get you to use TeamViewer. Yeah, you're talking about Microsoft technical support. That kind of scammer. That's not the kind of scammer I'm talking about. The kind of scammer I'm talking about is something more sophisticated than that, Mad Cow. It's somebody who doxes you first. The kind of scammer I'm talking about goes to the internet, goes to your profile on Facebook, digs out every piece of information about you, finds out all of your relatives and all of the names, and comes up with a scam that actually makes sense. Typical to this. I'll give you an example. I'm in a restaurant and I get a phone call. I get a phone call and this guy says, "Listen, your brother was in an accident. Listen, your brother was in an accident. Don't talk right now. I'm going to explain to you what you have to do. What's going on? Stop! I said be quiet. Don't talk to me. I'm trying to tell you something important, that your brother was in an accident." And after he got to that point, I just said "Zuck you" and hung up. So you can't scam him with that. It's like that's not a believable scam. Now let me revise the scam for you, so then you can see how much more believable it is. I go dox you. I go to Facebook. I know your real name. I know your brother's actual name. I know your brother's wife's name and all of your other relatives. I know your mother's name. And I start using those names in a phone call and say, "Listen, your brother John was in an accident and his phone is, you can come up with a story that's believable when you have real data that you can dox from something like Facebook." And people say, "Well, I don't really care about, people getting information about me. It's no big deal. I'm boring. There's nothing important about me." It's like, these people you're so naive. Gosh. So naive. I just have no idea what a bad guy can do if they know everything about you. You can be manipulated into, and this is not an AI doing this. This is an actual scammer. And I think about this on a global scale, what an AI is scamming you, because the AI knows everything about you too. I don't believe anything and will always challenge them. Last time they hung up on me when they, what? Huge debate. Couldn't answer easy questions about America. Oh, come on, Starlight. You actually sat there and said, "Okay, who's the first president of the United States?" You actually said, you can already hear the zucking accents from whatever, Somebody said there's a new scam now. It's Chinese. Most of the scams are are from India. Somebody said there was a new scam from China. They threatened to swat people to Indian call centers. Yes. So somebody said that apparently there's a brand new scam, and it's China-based. People are talking to you in Chinese. With a Chinese accent. So that's very, very interesting. How do I send money to help my brother? How much does he need? I got a blank check here. There you go, Mad Cow. So if you understand the kind of scenarios I'm talking about, it becomes easy to manipulate you when I have personal information about each and every one of you. Very easy to manipulate you, and very easy for you to believe. I'll give you an example of this again, just to show you that knowing things about you allows me to scam you. And if a person can do this, then a machine can do this later on. Influence votes, manipulate the country, things like that. But let me just show you another one that's something for you to think about. This is a credit card scammer. So the credit card scammer knows your name, your address, your birth date, and may have a copy of the credit card with the numbers on it, but may not have the PIN code. There's some information they have about the credit card. Maybe they got it from a receipt. So an example of this, I'm going to tell you how the scam works. Okay, so the scam works by getting copies of receipts from a restaurant. So they go to a restaurant and maybe they have somebody on the inside that takes copies, maybe takes pictures of the receipts of the credit cards from the restaurant. So somebody just, all day just taking pictures of these, which can easily be done. I mean, anybody has maybe one of the bus boys have a phone and then just takes a snapshot of of all the of credit cards and such that are on the cashier's station. And then since you have the real name on there, and you may have information about what city because it's where the restaurant is. Then you can start doxing these people. Then you can find them on Facebook and get information, and then you pre-screen the people and get a list of people that you have their name and address and find them on Facebook. And then you start doxing them, get their birth dates, get their personal information, know who's rich or poor, and get their background. Then you call them. Then you make the call and say, "Sir, this is from Bank of America. And this is from Bank of America Fraud Center. Is your name John Smith? Am I talking to John Smith?" And you say, "Yes." "Is this a John Smith at this?" And I'm going to tell you, normally I ask you for the address, but this time I'm going to give you the address so you trust me. "Is this a John Smith at 1280 Main Street, Los Angeles, California, 90210? And then you hear that and you say, "Okay, this person knows information about me, so must be legit. And is your birth date?" And then the person gives your birthday. This is how scamming based on doxing can be dangerous and can be used against you. So now you start believing the scammer because how did they get such detailed information? "Okay, sir, this is the story. We believe there's some fraudulent transactions on your credit card. There's some fraudulent transactions on your credit card, and you've just verified that this is you. We just verified that this is you. And what we need to do is replace your credit card. Are you okay with this, sir? We have a list of these transactions," and then maybe read off some fake transactions. "Did you have a transaction at Walmart for $1,200 buying the stereo system?" I said, "No." "Okay, so we're going to cancel these charges, sir. We're going to cancel these charges, and you don't have to worry about them. We're going to issue a new card. So are you okay with that, sir?" And yes. "And are we going to ship the card to 1280 Main Street, Los Angeles, California?" Yes, that's fine. So you're very comfortable now. Okay. So, sir, now can I have your PIN number, sir? And you say, "Why do you need my PIN number?" "Oh, because we're going to transfer the PIN number to the new card. We're going to transfer the PIN number to the new card. So then so if you give me the PIN number, I'll transfer it to the new card." Because I gave you, this is the trick that is very easy, very hard to detect. Because they made you trust them first. An expert at this was this guy, Kevin Mitnick. He's a very famous hacker, and he does this. And there's a scheme here. He builds a trust first, so when you start to trust, the way he does a trust thing is let's say he's trying to break into the telephone company. He's trying to go inside a telephone company terminal office so he can go hack the systems in there. And what he does, he starts researching everyone in the office and gets a name of all the supervisors. And so he starts mentioning names, and he talks like he works there. He has all the lingo down, and so they believe him because that's how you build the trust, is by giving you information that is not common knowledge. That's what doxing does. So if I'm going to dox you, and dig out information about you first, then I can manipulate you because you're not going to think I'm faking you. So this is the kind of actions that happen when you get doxxed. Now, so all of this now, if you think about what I'm saying, it should kind of give you a basic summary. You should get a basic summary now that says, looks like it's not a good thing to get doxxed. How do I prevent myself from getting doxxed? Well, shucks, people. 90% of the doxing is on sucking Zuckbook. 90%. If I'm going to dox somebody, the first place I'm going to look at is Zuckbook. The easiest way to get information about you and all the details about your life is Zuckbook. So when I say prepping for Skynet, I want you to start thinking about how somebody will manipulate you later on. I want you to think about how you're going to be manipulated and how to prevent that. And the way to prevent is by not being on Zuckbook. That's one. By not using your real name on social media. That's two. By guiding your data so that it doesn't go into all this with your IP address on it, which can then be matched to your real name. That's three. Being careful about your email because your email is being read and that can match it to your other identities on social media. That's four. So all of this, when connected together, can come up with a picture of you and what you do. This is just an example. I'll give you an example of how easy some people are to dox. So some people say, well, I'm, although I use my real name on Facebook, on Twitter, I don't use the same name. I have a different name on Periscope. I have a different name here on YouTube. So, all different. And you don't think about this, and yet you use the same email address. You use the same email address. So now you're all matched. Use the same photo. Use the same phone number. So you can see here that if you're not prepping, if you're not setting up your mind, Joe, if you're not setting up a mindset of being a prepper when it comes to your data, then it is too late to recover because the data, when it's out there, cannot be retrieved. You cannot cancel and say, I take it back. This is the nature of the internet. You cannot take it back. Therefore, you have to be prepping for the situation when somebody will misuse the data in a way that you did not expect. People will misuse the data. Now, what I'm worried about is a bigger time in our lives when Skynet is more active and is using this data to manipulate us in an automated way that we don't even realize. So one of the things that just to give you an idea. So if a doxer can scam you, a doxer can find out information about you and use it to scam you. Obviously, that same data is available to the AI. Obviously, that information, same information, is available to the AI. Uncle Joe, come on, you use your real name everywhere. So the AI has your real name and all that information. The AI can track all that. Some AIs have access to government records and can match it. The AI that is an example of that is Palantir. So Palantir is a company that's into mercenary tracking of people on the internet. And, well, not here in Periscope, Uncle Joe, but, obviously you're public on your websites. And I see you have to be. That's why you have to be careful about where you use your pictures, because that can be used to match. So a company like Palantir not only has your social media information coming from the same sources like Axiom, Intellius, and Spokio that get them from Facebook through leaks of data on Facebook, and I've explained that there's a mechanism to get that data from Facebook in the past. Basically, using apps like Candy Crush and so on, they can retrieve your information on Facebook, export it out, sell it to Intellius, Spokio, and all these companies, and that is then taken by companies like Palantir, which is a big giant database of each and every one of us. And the thing about it is Palantir is also a subcontractor for governments, for the federal government, for state governments, for city government. So they give them access to all the data from DMV, IRS, Health and Human Services. So your medical records, your all of that is allowed, is accessible to a company like Palantir. Now they can match that your real information to other information, and it's like, what the fuck? I mean, what do they know about you? So if a Palantir has all this information about you, including your private data, including seeing your car at this intersection because it has license plate trackers in California, which they do. Really bugs me, by the way. This is one of the reasons I'm so. I was telling you the story that I would go to this Japanese market in this part of town where we have a Japanese market to buy some sushi, and there's a whole lot of cameras in that particular area, a block away. And you can't evade it, and it's like every time I pass through there, I just cringe. I just cringe because not only do they take a photograph of me as I drive by there, then they're taking a picture of the license plate, and that goes into the Palantir database, and they said, "There we go again, Rob buying his sushi again. We spotted him again buying sushi." So now Palantir has a record of me and how many times I buy sushi, and it's like that just bugs me. I'm just looking for the scam that has to do with sushi. Waiting for the sushi scam. But so that really just gets on my nerves because this is the kind of thing that just I don't. They have that in Georgia too. Well, they're everywhere. Every big city. So it's just really distressing to me that they collect this information, put it into the database, and who gave them the right and access to this, and who's really controlling this? There's no law that prevents them from accessing this data. The sushi scam, yes. What about EXIF, huge debate? That's old news. Can we have the army invade Palantir? Where is that place? Palantir is probably also used by the army. Palantir is one of the biggest federal contractors for mercenary data mining. Their biggest client is the federal government and the intelligence agencies, three-letter agencies. Those are the biggest clients. This is Palantir. Palantir is owned by Peter Thiel. Who's Peter Thiel? PayPal. He and Elon Musk. So Elon Musk went on to do Tesla and SpaceX, and Peter Thiel decided he's going to go do Palantir. So Google has a Palantir thing too. It's called Jigsaw. So we got Elon Musk, we got Palantir on one side and we got Jigsaw on the other side. I'm going to guess that Palantir is more right-leaning and then Jigsaw is more left-leaning. These are both AIs. So one is a left-leaning AI, a right-leaning AI, and then we have the Facebook AI. So and then Jigsaw is Google, so that covers Google. And then we got Facebook AI and probably an Amazon AI too. So I don't know, guys. You're like looking at this and say, I don't really care. We don't have to prep for Skynet. I'm telling you, folks, keep your data safe. Have a VPN. Don't use your real name on the internet. Do disinformation like Huge T Byte. Huge T Byte is like an expert on disinformation. If I were Huge T Byte, what I would do is I would go to the sushi supermarket more often than I have to, just to confuse them. My live stream is working on YouTube right now because I'm on it on YouTube right this moment, and I'm reading comments from YouTube. So you're in the wrong stream there, Joe. uh, yeah, you're not on the right broadcast. Uh, yes, I thought you're a fan of Peter Thiel, Huge T Byte. Some VPN steal information. Yes, they do. That's why go use mine. If Bytes VPN will steal in your information, it will steal mine too, since I use it. Your disinformation didn't fool Zuckbook. I'm not on Zuckbook, but no. Yes, that's no. I didn't do any significant disinformation on Zuckbook, but I need to do more. I need to create like fake contact lists. Pick some random people, upload it to Zuckbook to really mess them up. That's actually a good one. If you want some good disinformation, this is a lot of work. Create a fake contact list. Just take some random people on the internet, put them on your contact list, and upload it to Zuckbook. That will be great. Better yet, go to the sushi bar, ask for cooked fish. That will really confuse them. If the VPN, yes, LG Knight, correct. So, guys, believe me here, you can't come to me and say, I'm in a crisis. I got scammed. I got hacked. I got doxxed. It's too late for you, for the scammer. Too late to hunt down the hacker. And it's certainly too late by that point to evade Skynet. So you have to actually be proactive and really have a prepping mentality even with your data. So don't be just say, okay, I'm going to be a prepper when it comes to survival. Emergency prepper. I'm going to have a ham radio. I'm going to have food supply and water and ammo and radios and so on. But I'm not going to go care about my data. Well, it's the same thing because, again, an emergency when it comes to your data is something that you can't fix after the fact. It cannot be fixed. This only solution is prevention. You have to think like a prepper when it comes to your data. You have to keep your data away from Skynet. This has got to be your mentality. Keep the data away from Skynet. In doing so, you keep your data away from everyone. I'm a big promoter of being pseudo-anonymous. Look at Brax.me, guys. The Brax.me app, which Huge T Byte doesn't like. He'd rather use this other app. Okay, so I recovered quickly. I just restarted the Wi-Fi. I restarted the Wi-Fi and it recovered. So now I know what the solution is. Restart the Wi-Fi and it's back up. Okay, at least now I know. Now that I know what the situation is, I just reconnected the Wi-Fi and it worked. So at least I've isolated the issue. It's Wi-Fi related. Good. Now at least I know what the cause is, and I'm not going to panic now. Less panic. Okay, so it's not an issue on your end. You were back for a second and dropped. Well, You mean you're not live right now? Yeah, we should be back here. I'm ready to go deep with my disinformation campaign. Hope they think that I'm not human, but what will they think of farm animals zucking around on the internet? I think you should panic. It's better for ratings. Uh, yeah, at least I identified my issue to be local. So my Wi-Fi is getting disconnected locally. So that's the only issue, because all I had to do was reconnect the Wi-Fi and everything was running. So at least I know it's not a problem externally. Because if the websites don't work offline, no, I'm not offline. Live stream offline. No, not offline. No, I don't know. YouTube had a little problem there. It had a glitch. It said offline for a second. Well, of course, Starlight. Of course, they know who you are. I mean, they have all the EXIF information. How do you say I'm going to move my picture? That doesn't make any sense. Restarting Wi-Fi is what I have to do when starting. I don't have that problem with Bytes VPN. By the way, just side comment here, unrelated to this, unrelated to my scope topic here. Bytes VPN has been around a year now. So Bytes VPN is around a year, and so and a lot of you have just renewed your. This is the time now for renewals to start happening on Bytes VPN, and I'm just so pleased. I'm just so pleased that it's virtually 100% renewal. I mean, I'm really, really pleased that I've given you a good enough service that you're willing to. There's a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of VPN products, and I'm so happy that I've done enough of a good job that people have come back and said, "Yep, we'll renew for another year on BraxMe on Bytes VPN." That is so awesome. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support. No huge debite. That's not correct. So if I take the photos off and upload to Brax and upload to a business fan page, won't they work hiding EXIF info? If you right, Starlight, but they do facial recognition. Is the point I'm trying to tell you. So, Facebook has facial recognition data and can match it to your account. So the only way to solve that is to create a brand new account and then delete the old account. But you're so reluctant to do that, so that's not going to happen. So see, you're caught in the Skynet thing because they'll say, "Okay, we got you. You're like my friend." Said, "Well, I'm not, I don't want to lose contact with my relatives and with my friends, and so I can't leave Facebook." And these are the kinds of things that lock you into Skynet. It will lock you into this data collection thing where everyone, a third party and an AI knows everything about you, and you have no chance for this information. And after years, you just haven't said, I'm going to bite the bullet. You haven't done it. So, there's so much information about you. You're not even using a VPN right now, right? So then all this information about you is on there. It's going to be, you're out. Huge D-Byte is out. So anyway, it's did I say anything to bug you, Huge D-Byte, again? Huge D-Byte is always mad at me about something. Always about something. I don't know what. Depends on the day. It requires some decision making and saying, do you really want? I just gave you so many scenarios here where somebody can use that information against you, and people say there is no risk to being on these platforms. There's no risk to using your real name. There's no risk to exposing your real information where you live and all that. There's no risk. That's what some of you think. Of course, there's a risk. I gave you all different kinds of risk in this broadcast. I gave you military risk, personal risk, scamming risk, and a Skynet risk, and all this from manipulation. And people still say, no, we don't have anything to worry about. Does it help to wear a mask at all times? No, mad cow. It helps better if you have a different mask every time. Different mask. You can have a business page, Starlight. Nobody says you can't have a business page, but it's what do you? It's your personal page that is an issue. Of course, you can move ownership of a business page to another an account, but you don't really think about this step by step. So you're not planning this out. You're probably going to use the same phone number. And I've told you things like, Facebook is using those phone numbers and selling them. So they're going to match you by phone number. Yeah, so you don't need your real name, just Starlight. So there you go. So then you need to assign it to a different account that is not you. Meaning, make a personal account that is a completely made-up person. A completely made-up person, and then assign the business account to that person. Do not put anything on the profile of the person. Do not put anything on the profile of the person. So it makes it look like it's a worker, an employee. Make it seem like an employee. I'm going to tell you a little cautionary note here. I'm gonna give you a cautionary note here, Starlight, because this actually is one of the people that came to me asking for help. One of our good friends here in Periscope said, "Help my friend. My friend lost access to her Facebook account. My friend lost access to her Facebook account. She was concerned about her privacy, so she did not use her real name. Except she gave the name and access to her ex. And maybe they weren't exes at the time, but then then it became an ex, and the ex went in there and screwed up the account, canceled everything, and now she has to say, that's my account. It was taken over by somebody else. And now they say, well, prove it. Well, I can't, because somebody, whoever took the account changed the email addresses and changed the email. It's like, oh my gosh. I mean, if you don't take the own precautions, how do you get to that point? When somebody takes over an account, they're going to have you need multiple ways of verifying that it's you. They're going to send you an email message that says you're changing something on the account, and then you ignore that. They send you an email saying, are you sure you're changing the email? Please verify if this is correct or not. And then you ignore the email. Then you come back and you say, a year later, and say, well, I can't recover my account. What do I do? Because you ignored it. I can't help you. So I told that person, I said, it's good luck with Facebook on that. But then again, who cares? It's only Facebook. Do you really love Facebook that much to set up a brand new account and go contact your friends and say, please follow me in my new account? And don't worry about it. Yes, LG Knight. I'm just saying, it's like, You get all these warning messages. Don't go on the internet if you don't understand what you're doing. This is not something where you can do anything and there's no risk to you. Yes, if you're 90 years old, there's probably not much of a risk. So if you're 90, I'm gonna say, yeah, forget it. What are they gonna do? But otherwise, they can use you to sway elections. Change opinions. I mean, it's kind of like dangerous stuff here. What I've been doing now is each day I use their memory page and not delete from there. Nothing on FB ever is gone. I also have to say I have deleted stuff from Facebook and came back to see it back 3 months or so later. Is that possible? Starlight, what if you're 65, allegedly? That's still too young. That's Uncle Joe, that's too young. Way too young. Too many things can happen in the world and you can be part of it. That is, if you think just because you're in your 60s, you have nothing to worry about. It's like, remember Steve from Florida who passed away last December? He was already ill. And he, in a sense, he knew he was ill, and he probably knew that, he wasn't going to live forever. And he was still so concerned about his privacy to the last minute. He was still using VPNs, Tor routers, and all that. And you ask yourself, why is someone, who probably knew he wasn't going to be around too long, because he was so disabled, and he had so many problems, systemic problems, and he had so many issues, and yet he was so concerned. He was so concerned about his privacy. Why is that? Because it's not just about you. This is like a contribution to society. Manipulating each and every one of you actually manipulates the message. If somebody tells me that we don't need to worry about the grid, and that's let's just say that's the message, and I'm saying I'm going to create a disinformation campaign, and make sure that we focus on other issues and not focus on the problem with the grid. Okay, so here in California, the big focus is on drinking straws. This is the biggest issue of the day, the drinking straw, because we're going to have pollution in the ocean with the drinking straw. Because there are like millions of drinking straws in the harbor, according to this kind of thinking. Okay, so we need to worry about the drinking straw, but we're not going to worry about the grid. You see how you can manipulate things. You can change, what is important for the moment, because you can manipulate what is out there in social media and what's important. Straws kill turtles. Well, here in California, it's illegal to hand you a straw. So it's like, I have sensitive teeth. I need a straw. It hurts my teeth to get cold stuff in my teeth. So I want a straw. And I don't care if they give me a paper straw, just a straw. And, this California, it's like that's the biggest issue of the day. So, but the grid can go down, and then we could be killing each other in 5 days. I didn't even want to bring that up, Uncle Joe. Don't even want to bring that up, because straws are my defensive weapon. Oh, Simon's here. Simon is quietly here. Good morning, Simon. I find it strange that straw sales have spiked. Maybe it's paper straw sales that spiked. Paper straws dissolve in your mouth. Uh, um, Back in the day, they were made with wax paper. Back in the day, waxed straw, insane. So anyway, guys, it's not just I'm just saying that I don't want people, systems, AI to determine things for me, and yet it is we yet here we are today, guys. You liked it, Lisa Flores, the wax paper straws. Look at us today. Look at us today. Uh, Now forget what I was saying. Forget what I was saying. Uh, Now I forgot what I was saying. I answered Lisa Flores' comment, and then I forgot. I'm hoarding plastic straws every day. I go to the beach and throw one in. Yeah, I'm always curious about this. I go to a restaurant which is not near. It's not on the beach. And I said, how did the straws get to the ocean from the restaurant? It's always a question in my mind. How did the straw get to the ocean from the restaurant? Should they have a law that says, let's find the restaurants that get their straws into the ocean? Meaning their garbage, they didn't put it in the garbage bag? Advertising topics determine public concern. That's correct, Hawaii dealer. And I don't mean advertising in the sense of you think of advertising. It's social media. What's trending? AI determines things. AI, straws blow away. So don't put it in some places that blow away. Paper blows away too. Any number of things can blow away. Cling wrap, everything any small piece of anything will blow away. So make sure, find the people who don't pack it properly. I think the topic was about Facebook and pseudo-anonymity. No, that's not what I was saying. The topic is about the AI. And the topic was that the algorithm decides what videos you're going to watch. YouTube decides what you're going to watch. YouTube decides if you're going to watch me or not. I don't get to decide. Periscope decides what you're going to watch. Periscope decides you're going to be on the global list or not. Periscope decides who you're going to watch. YouTube decides what you're going to watch. All of this is done by AI. It's not done by you organically. You have less influence than you think. AI is really driving a lot of this. AI drives what shows up in the timeline on Facebook. AI decides what you're going to see on Twitter. AI may auto-block you and shadow ban you so that your stuff doesn't show up on other people's pages if they don't like you. Apparently YouTube decided I can watch you. No, you can watch me on YouTube is fine right now. Just click on the right. There are multiple broadcasts now since it went down. Creating is secondary personal as a business person. Creating a secondary personal as a business person. In Periscope case, it's artificial idiocy. That's the funny thing, Now, Periscope, as you can see, is kind of dying on the vine here. And Periscope had a chance to track what people actually wanted to do on Periscope. And Periscope ignored that and started manipulating, it in their way and against what the people wanted. And people left in droves. And so Periscope is all about churn. There's always this new people on Periscope, and there's no one staying. The number of people who stay on Periscope is maybe just as small as 1%. 99% of the people you see are all new. and that means that if we don't have visibility on the list or get trended or anything, we are basically unsupported by Periscope. We will die on the vine. That's why I don't really want to put too much effort now after four plus years here on Periscope, because they don't really care. So it's affecting Periscope now. The numbers in Periscope are way down, way down, and you can see it's global. Everyone's numbers are down. My numbers are down. Everybody's numbers are down. So significantly down. Look, this whole night is extremely low for me as well. Nothing new there. It's the usual. And it's because, artificial manipulation of, what you're supposed to watch. They decide what you're going to watch. YouTube decides. Now, the only thing different about YouTube is that the AI said, well, if we see signs that the audience want to support the person, then they push you up artificially. So people, please support me on YouTube by following my channel, subscribing to my channel, and hitting that like button, because that's the only way we're going to teach the AI. We have to teach the AI what to do. Why is that, Maui? By the way, Maui, the Apple system was down, so I was not able to work on checking out why Braxme wasn't working on the iPhone 5S. Not able to do it today. I began my testing, and their systems are down, so I'm not able to even do a test. So we'll try again tomorrow, but kind of a wasted day trying to do that. Trying to test a 5S. That train the AI that your face should be in the attractive category. Is killing the numbers on Periscope with only no, Starlight, you're incorrect. You're incorrect, Starlight. That means Periscope is deciding that, not those 1,200 followers. Starlight, Periscope is making that decision. So Periscope said, oh, here's a pretty face and a pretty voice. Let's support this. They decide that artificially. So don't be too excited about what happens on Periscope. Don't be too excited. It's not really genuine. So, well, of course, if any pretty face, any female pretty, male pretty face is not going to add anything, but a female pretty face on Periscope will get newbies. But no, it's all AI, it's all manipulation. That's why it's just so frustrating. So YouTube AI looks for triggers, and they kind of hold up. They don't recommend you. They do it in stages. So if you get to 1,000 viewers, they start to pay attention to you a little bit. They don't really do much. They only start paying attention to me. The YouTube algorithm just paid attention to me about a week ago. So, just a week ago, I started getting attention from YouTube. Suddenly, the AI is paying attention. And it's artificial. I don't know what triggers it. I have no idea. I think I got a few videos that attracted attention, and then from then on, they started all of my videos start to get attention. So the AI does that. So please subscribe to my channel and then hit that like button on the video to get the AI thinking that things are cool. Whatever you do, don't watch a peach cobbler video on YouTube. What happens, Uncle Joe? Do they just keep showing you peach cobblers over and over? Starlight, come on, be serious. Having original music is not enough to get you attention on Periscope. Let's say that you're not attractive and no one's even gonna listen to your music. You know how it is. Hello, Crystal. Yeah, come on, Starlight. It's not. You should know this. I stopped playing the game because I know there's a little bit of a game to this. And back then, you start. You do titles that are clickbaity and so on. But it doesn't work right now because right now the only way to get attention on the global list is if you have a call in. If you're not supporting call ins, then they drop you off the list. Since I don't do call ins, there you go. Periscope decided that they don't want you. You don't do call ins. It's all artificial. This is an example of algorithms that make the decision, and it's not based on what you want to know, but what's foisted on you. Somebody else decides what you're going to see. This is true of every platform, from Facebook to Twitter to YouTube and so on. So all of these platforms, even the search list, when you do a Google search, all of that is controlled by an algorithm. And the algorithms are based on your profile. And the algorithms on YouTube are more sophisticated because they know what your preferences are. Well, I'm not going to do call-ins, Lisa Flores Bird, because I'm on YouTube, and a call-in will not show up on YouTube. It will not show up on OBS. The call-in will only show up on my phone. So how am I supposed to do that? So you do a call-in, and there's no way for anybody else to hear it. So yes, call-ins are good to do for for people who want to play the game with Periscope, but it's not authentic. It's instead of saying, why don't you support people who already have a history of success on Periscope? No, they're artificially pushing what they are showing on the trending list. Everything is artificial. Who gets featured and what topics get featured, that's all decided by somebody, not you. You don't get to decide that. You don't get to decide what's featured. You don't get to decide what's important. Somebody else decides it for you. I call in and keep quiet so at least my sexy face will attract the AI. Do you do call-ins on your scope, Simon? I mean, you've been scoping lately, but I haven't seen you do a call-in. You should do a call-in scope about that. I am not really interested in spending my time, trying to, fake the system or I mean, to this day we still have fake viewership. The same people are still using the same fake AI programs to fake viewership and viewer counts on Periscope. Why? So I saw before I did my scope, I looked at my screen here, and somebody started off with 25 viewers, and then in about 15 seconds, without any intermediate numbers, the number jumped from 25 viewers to 516 live viewers. Seriously? You expect me to believe that in today's Periscope, somebody actually gets 516 live viewers? Come on. And nobody's talking on the scope because there's only a handful of people there. So nobody's actually talking. So it shows 500 live viewers, 1,000 live viewers. Oh gosh, people. That's manipulation right there. Is T Series a scam, and will the internet fall if T Series overtakes PewDiePie? Everyone in India signs up for YouTube is auto sub to T Series. Uh, that's manipulation in a way too. Then it becomes like a national thing. You can always tell by the slow comments roll. It's not, I don't have to. I know the history. By topic. What topics would if you're not showing open bobs, how many people do you think should be on any scope, even if you're popular, unless you are somebody doing something super interesting? I don't think so. So unless I've been around Periscope a while. You can kind of predict, based on history, what the real numbers are for each person. When somebody gets higher numbers than you, and they're normally the same numbers as you, then it's being tricked. I mean, it should be obvious. So, and yet this is the kind of AI stuff and manipulation that happens with bots, and we don't really care. Yesterday, I got 17K live viewers. On where? On Periscope? Did you get featured? Or did you hire a bot? Did you hire bots or did you get featured? Obviously, if you get featured, then that's artificially promoted by Periscope. So yes, Periscope decided we're gonna feature you. So some people get featured, and your ego starts to get affected by that a little bit, because you get featured, but it wasn't a natural feature. Nope, not featured, and did not buy bots. Then and there were actually 17K people, or it's a bug. I always feel like I'm chilling with robots when I'm on the internet. There you go. So I'm telling you guys, what a joke. To go on the internet and you say, okay, you have 17K viewers, but they're not there, and you're supposed to feel happy about this? The guy who talks about brain science always get many comments flying by. Yeah, yes, he's he's been around a long time, so he would be expected to get normal numbers. He's not one of those that fakes his numbers. I'll take any viewers. Fake ones welcome. Just open bobs, Simon. That's all you need. Open bobs. Hey, Space Resort. Open bobs. Are you on YouTube, Space Resort? Are you subscribed to my YouTube account? Guys, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube account, please help me convince the AI that I'm worth it. Please help me convince the AI. So please subscribe to my YouTube account and hit like on my broadcast. Hit like on the broadcast and make that AI thing that they should be supporting me. See, I can't even ask you to support me for real, because part of it is just getting the AI to make me visible. Many people are very popular on YouTube because they were around longer. That's part of the algorithm. If you have so many videos and you've been here a while, under other name, okay. If you've been on YouTube, if you've been here on YouTube for a while, and you have a lot of videos, then the AI normally progresses into recommending you more. So it's that's why it's kind of a process. You have to kind of grow with the AI. So it's kind of a tolerant AI that says, okay, if you do certain things, we'll help you, but only if you do certain things. So you're really pushing your wares, so to speak, to the AI. which is like really, really zucked up. Zucked up. I'm having to do this to the AI instead of to real followers. I used to get so many real followers on Periscope when they didn't mess with it. I'm seeing a bigger picture, Carly, on the Chinese app WeChat in a week's time. You have to do your apprenticeship. Yes, Simon Pickup, apprenticeship to the AI. Thoughts on the PIA? What the thoughts on the PI4? PI4. Yeah. Before I end my scope here, just a comment. Yes, there's a brand new Raspberry Pi 4, and the specs are very good. It looks like it's going to be slightly more expensive. As usual, they add a few more. That means the old ones will be lower in price, and new one will be slightly more. I'm going to guess the case alone was a little bit more, so it's probably going to be, it'll end up to be like $10 more, is my guess. So it's not available yet, but I have to program for it. But I like it because it's the first version with USB 3 port. So the USB 3 will be faster. That means you can put in faster Ethernet and so on. It already has gigabit internet on the 3B Plus, but the USBs are still USB 2. So that's going to be good. So I have to program a new version for the Pi 4 when it's available. So we'll have to get there. So is it beneficial for those of you on the Tor router? No, because you're not using the USB ports. But it might be good for future applications that use the USB ports. Like if you want to turn into a router that's not Wi-Fi, that will be important for that. For those of you on the Tor Wi-Fi, no, it's not. It's not going to. The B Plus will have the similar specs, so it's not going to work much faster on that. But I look forward to future projects you can do with this. And the B Plus is still pretty much the same as far as Wi-Fi use. But a wired router. When I get a hold of a Pi 4, I'll probably start shipping just Pi 4s, so that it's flexible for future use. So unfortunately, that's the way it is. You have to buy these devices. Fortunately, you can buy a device with a case typically for about $50. Does USB 3 work on my Atari 64? Of course it does. Update that Atari. Update the Atari. Make sure it gets gigabit performance. Gigabit performance on the Atari. You also said new modems were coming out, but not to buy until are they out yet? You're talking about WPA3 Starlight. And here's the problem. Windows was supposed to release a new version of Windows supporting WPA3. WPA3 was hacked. Somebody found a way to hack a WPA3. No one has released WPA3. Windows was supposed to release a version in April. We are now in late June. And they still haven't released WPA3. So at the way this is looking, it's not looking like... I don't even know if there's a fix yet to the hack on WPA3 or if they have to go back to the drawing board. So WPA2 was hacked a long time ago, but the new WPA3 was hacked. The brand new WPA3, which is not even sold yet, somebody already figured out a hack. Okay, so I guess we're going to have to stay longer with WPA2 and still remain zucked. We're going to be zucked with WPA2 for a while. So, the move to WPA3 will be by software. So, existing hardware may work if the vendors are willing to support it. The problem is the longer the gap, then the less chance they have to support it. Hello, Holistic Deb. So WPA3 is going to be delayed. I don't know. At the rate it's going, we may only be seeing the early trickles of this at the end of the year, because it's already, many, many months late. Many, many months late. So at this point, just get Brax Wi-Fi routers instead, and then hopefully that will be fixed with stuff by software. You want things that can be fixed by software. Routers can be fixed by software, not with hardware. So, will I be more protected by radiation if I store smartphones in my car? Whatever. Okay. So anyway, schedule wise. Okay, so I'm gonna end my scope shortly here, but just some announcements. So I'm gonna be doing a jam session tomorrow. So I will do a Periscope only broadcast of the jam session tomorrow night. So we will be back on live doing a jam session tomorrow. And then watch out for videos during the week. And maybe some videos that are not too serious. So some videos that are not too serious are coming up. I already have one made. So videos that I did from vacationing. I still want my Jazz Theory YouTube. Nobody cares about my Jazz Theory. Oh, awesome! I can't wait to see it. Yes, Holistic Deb, my friend. Yeah, so I'm did some just. I'm just gonna turn. I basically have a sailing video, and it's a sailing video. So I did, since I'm not doing sailing scopes, I did a video, and showing you sailing a little clearer now, because it's not gonna be affected by the Wi-Fi signal, the cell signal. So it'll be very clear, and we're gonna call it my bug out, because my bug out, Deb, my bug out location is my boat. So we're testing my bug out. We're taking the bug out on a test drive every week. Every week we take a test drive. But listen to Miles 2. What the hell are you guys talking about? Jazz Theory? I will have Google Jazz Theory and let the AI choose who teaches me then. You have no bug out boat, Deb, and you don't have any communications, Deb. All you have is food and water. No communications. I presume you have these, Deb. I presume these you got, right? Right? Yes, no. Deb will not acknowledge. No boat or communications. Ugh. But you have this. Deb, set aside 20. I will not say. There you go. There you go. So, but Deb, get yourself one of those radios. It's $25. $25. Get a Chinese radio and put it in your bug out box. But you have to keep it charged. Will USB 3 work on my TRS-80 Model 3? It already works. I have one. Uncle Joe. You're on it. Yes. $25. Deb, $25. Get a there's a link on my video from last night. It's a Baofeng. Get a $25 one, or maybe the tax, the import tax probably increased. I actually have a Model 4P of what? So Yeah. So what did I say? Communications, and what is the other one? You have no bug out. You have no bug out location. Zogdeb. Got to have a portable bug out, like a tent system. If you don't have a permanent bug out, you do have like a tent system bug out, portable bug out. So I like my bug out with the boat because it's self-sustaining. I can sail down to Mexico and hide in there somewhere. So anyway, uh, I'll be at a jam session tomorrow. So tomorrow we will have a Periscope only broadcast, and then we'll probably see you back here uh, on Friday on live, and then videos in between. I used to have a location, but okay, that's funny. That's funny. Uh, Starlight, I ordered that. I will be making a video about it. Yes, and I will recommend a brand. I like what I saw, and I ordered it. It's kind of expensive for a video, but you know, I'm ordering all these expensive things for a video. I also I got a big giant dish. It's so big. I gotta here. I'm gonna show you how big it is. I lost the bug out location. Yes, I know, but hold on. So I'm gonna have to do a. I'm gonna have to do what do you call this? A box unboxing here. I'm gonna do an unboxing and see. Can I use a bullet to open this? It's probably the only one you've seen that uses a bullet to unbox. Okay, 'cause I'm just so curious what this looks like. Because this is so big. And this has to do with communication, so I'm going to show you what we have here. It's huge. Okay, kind of like an egg container here. Let's see. Oh my gosh, they sealed this like glued. How the heck do you open this? Wow. Aha. Okay. It's not assembled, but they're part of it. It's a communications dish. So that's part of the dish. And then there's all the hardware that goes in the back. So this is my communications dish for a network. It's huge. Look how big that is. So it's got all the stuff in the back here, I guess, Whoa! This is like an outdoor dish that's going to connect to my mesh network, connecting to the mountains there. So, wow, it looks so alien. Yeah, it looks very alien. Yeah, look at that. It's a big dish too. This is like bigger than a TV dish. It's huge. And the other thing is interesting how they made the dish. They made it with mesh wire, so that when the wind blows, it doesn't get blown by the wind. So I'm going to make a video about this when I'm done. So that's the few. Yes. So I'm gonna show you how that's going to be used. So I'm going to connect to a. I'm going to make a video show. Nobody watches that video, but if you understand what's happening here, some of these are very subtle messages about what's going on, because this is a grid network that operates when the grid is down. This is made to work when there's no grid. This does not require being on the grid. It's going to be powered by solar power. So with solar power, I can communicate and keep a network connection even when the rest of the city has no power. Will be connected. So so that's going to come up this coming week. So lots of videos and activities. And I did a video on antennas. So I did a ham radio antenna video, and 2 people unsubscribed. It's like, fuck. 2 people unsubscribed to me for the when they saw the antenna video. It's like, oh my gosh. Anyway, so we shall. It's my first time to watch your scope. What's the premise of your show, Lisa Flores? I'm the internet privacy guy. So first of all, if you want to get the full premise, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Rob Braxman Tech. So I am the internet privacy guy, and I'm here to talk about internet privacy and protecting yourself on the internet. And that includes many, many different things, and part of it is involves also prepping. So they're all kind of connected to the same issue, which is to give you control instead of people using you on the internet. So if you will see so many videos that talk about hacking and doxing and protecting you and having communications in an emergency, and the reason I do that is because communications on Facebook is so unsafe. So is there a way to talk and communicate in other ways that have nothing to do with Facebook and social media with your real name? And you're using your real name here. That's not good. That's one of the first lessons you will learn, is to be pseudo-anonymous. Okay, so yes, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you will actually see it connected to so many different videos and categories. And I also teach you tech, since I'm a cybersecurity expert. I also teach you about all that and protecting yourself in the cyber world. So protecting yourself in the cyber world against bad guys, against Skynet, against the grid going down, against all that. Yes, that is going to be my advice, Lisa Flores. Yes. So I'm studying for basic ham, but it will be cool as we can get long range and be able to talk to another. But I bet it would be a great video if possible. Well, I'm already doing that. Lavelle, yes, I'm shutting down here, but I'm already going to be doing that. You're not understanding the videos I'm already making is already doing that. I connected my bug out location to my house. It's connected on a high-speed network without any grid connection. So my boat is several miles away, many miles away. It's connected to my house, and it's on high-speed internet. It's on high-speed network, and I can control the computers on the boat. High speed, I can watch videos on the boat, and there's no internet on here. I'm not connected to the internet at all. If the grid goes down, everything is still running. It's running on the boat batteries, and it can run on that for a long time because it doesn't use up a lot of power. So this is very fascinating stuff. And if I add a solar panel to the boat, then it can run indefinitely. And I have a solar panel that I'm going to be adding to my equipment over here. So this is going to be like really, really interesting things. Trust me. Thank you, Space Resort. Thank you. Search Tor on YouTube, and your video come up pretty high on the list. Yes, if you search for Internet Privacy Guy, I'm number one. If you search for YubiKey, I'm a number one. I'm a number one in many now. That's why I'm getting the AI is recognizing me now. I'm number one in many of them. Antivirus, I'm near the top too. So there's many things where I'm at the top now. So it's finally happening, but I don't. The numbers of subscribers are only picking up now. So now they're growing. The rate I'm going here, it'll be be going up a lot faster now. So, but it just started like 2 weeks ago. So anyway, watch me tomorrow on my music scope tomorrow on Periscope. So I will be on Periscope tomorrow with a jam session. So watch me there, And there'll be no talking, but we'll be playing music. So if you'd like to hear music without getting demonetized, then watch us on Periscope tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Approximately 7:30 p.m. tomorrow on Periscope. Okay, guys? And good night. Good night, guys. Good night, Hawaii Dealer. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.